how likely was it that this ceasefire was going to be accepted in the first place? I mean, is there still hope that a ceasefire can be agreed to? And in this case, we're only talking about Israel and Lebanon.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I would say as of today, it doesn't look very likely. But of course, as you know, things can change rather rapidly. To some extent, I think it will depend on what Hezbollah's reaction is here. So in other words, if it continues to fire across the border, if it continues to be present in that, the far south of Lebanon, then Israel may feel obliged just to keep going. And as the Prime Minister said yesterday, they will keep going until they've hit all their objectives. And their objectives largely is to try and demilitarize the south of Lebanon. It's supposed to remove the threat of rockets coming across. And ultimately, for the domestic audience, it's about moving those 65,000 people back up into northern Israel. So I think until they're in a position where they feel they can do that and those people are then safe, this will continue. They clearly have overwhelming superiority.
Yeah, Stuart, one of the questions people always ask me, or at least are discussing, is where Iran stands in all of this. Hezbollah, obviously, Iran-backed in terms of military financing support, training. But they've sort of been a bit distant from what has been happening in Lebanon. We heard from the president at the UN General Assembly earlier this week. What do you think Iran's calculus is right now?
I think at the moment they're looking at the situation and they're taking one big factor into account, which is that every time we get an escalation, the US tends to move more firepower into the region. And again, when you think about what's happened inside Iran quite recently, that is with the assassination of Haniyeh, the Hamas, one of the Hamas leaders, and then when you look at the infiltration of the supply chains amongst Hezbollah, I think there has to be a certain nervousness within Iran about, A, what exactly are their capabilities, what's being compromised, and if they do react, what is the likely response from the US, and ultimately, is that to the advantage of Iran? So if you think back to April, where they sent this, what was it, something like 300 drones and missiles across, I think just about every single one was taken out. So that was a carefully coordinated attack, but it failed. And again, thinking about self-preservation here, is it necessarily in the interest of Iran right now to weigh in on this particular conflict? And it's very hard to see what exactly the options are for Iran in the short term.